Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing this question paper for Computerized Financial Systems N4 that was written in June, the 14th of June 2024 as a preparation for your revision as you will be writing your final exam. So just to start with this question paper, I've prepared 7 tips that you must follow when you're answering this question paper. So what are these 7 tips that are going to help you? Let me go through them. Here are the tips. When you're answering this question paper, the first thing that you must do, you must make sure that you read the instruction carefully. In your question paper at the beginning, from page 2 up to page 4, you've got instructions there that you need to read carefully, so that everything that you do in the pastel program, you adhere to what is required of you. Then the next thing that you must pay attention to, or you must take notes, you must make sure that you insert your ID number before you start your examination. You must insert your ID number in the program. There are instructions that are given in your question paper just to remind you how to insert your ID number, because if you don't insert your ID number, when you print, your printout will not be having the ID number. Whatever you print from the program is got your ID number in it, because if it doesn't have an ID number, there's instruction there in the question paper that says the printout without the ID number will not be marked. So make sure that you have the ID number, or you insert your ID number in the system or in the program before you start your examination. You must read through the case study. You must read the scenario, and so that you understand what is the business selling, or what is the product that they are selling. It's very important, because in the question paper there will be invoices, and some invoices you will be buying stock and you must know where to process them, and some invoices you will be buying non-stock, so you must know also where you need to process them. So it's important to read the scenario so that you understand what the business is selling. You must know the owner of the business. Why is this important? Is because sometimes there are transactions that the business will do with the owner. So in that case, you must know that the drawings account is going to be affected. So if you don't know the owner of the business, then you will not know what account to use when that transaction take place. And then number 5, you must complete additional parameter setup. In every question paper, in this case it was on page 5, where they tell you that you must do additional parameter setup. What does this means? It means they have done the parameter settings of your company, but there's a part that they have left for you to complete. So before you start your question paper, you must start by completing this additional parameter setup. So when you read this instruction, you must stop, and then you must go and do the additional parameter setup, and then you come back and read through your question paper. So number 6 says you must read through the question paper. Why is this important? Is you must know what have been created for you, and what is it that you still need to do on the question paper. And then you must know, read through, understand the question paper, understand what is given to you, and also understand what is it that you still need to do. And then you must know the profit markup. In your question paper again, when you read through your question paper, you come across this section whereby they will tell you the profit markup that the business is using. So this is very important, because in your question paper there will be situation whereby the business is buying a certain product for the first time. So the only part that you'll be given is the cost price. So then you will need to calculate the selling price. So you need to know what is the markup, so that you can convert the cost price into the selling price when you create your inventory item. So these are the tips that I'm giving you for this exam. Read instruction carefully, insert your ID number, read the scenarios to understand what the business is selling, know who is the owner of the business in case where there are transactions between the business and the owner. You know which account to activate. Complete additional parameter setup where they have left off. Go and complete those settings before you start your question paper. Read through the question paper to know what you are given or what they've been done for you already. And you must also know the profit markup so that you know how to calculate your selling price from the given cost price in your tax invoice. Let's just go through the instruction before we can go through the scenario. The instructions are as follows. You know that your question paper is 3 hours. This includes you input the input of all data as well as your printing. So you must know you have only 3 hours to complete this question paper. And then the most important part, make sure that your examination number and the watermark. When you print that printout, it must have your examination number and the watermark. Why is that? They say here, no printout or answer without an examination number or watermark will be marked. So if you don't pay attention to this, you'll find that you won't be getting marks for the printout that you have printed on your system. Number 5 is very important. You must know the company that you are dealing with. In this case, this question paper, the name of the company was KINKY. So in the workstation where we are sitting, you must make sure that it is loaded with the correct company. So it must have that information or that set of account of KINKY before you can start your examination. And then point number 6, they are reminding you how are you going to put your examination number and the workstation number in your system. So they take you through this process. They say you go to set up company parameters, and then you enter the examination number for your center. Select the company name. In the company name field, you press Ctrl+Shift+T, and then you put, this is how you're going to put it. It's going to be a workstation number, comma, KINKY, comma, examination number. Then you click on OK. So once you have done this, then it means your name will now be appearing on your system. Then the other important part that people don't take note of is to arranging their printouts. They say arrange the printout in a correct order and only hand in what is required. Why are you supposed to arrange your printout? There is point number 10. What does it say? Up to 5 marks can be deducted if printouts are not in the correct order. So if you don't want to lose these 5 marks, make sure that you know how to sort your work according to the answer sheet. So at the back of your question paper, or the last page before the last, let me go to that page. It tells you what needs to be printed. So this is how you need to sort your work. This is how you need to sort your work. When I open your answer script, I must see the first page must be general journal. Your second page must be customer opening balances. And then from there, I must see your supply invoices. The first one that you did and the second one that you did, your debit notes, your tax invoices. You arrange your work according to this. So the last item that I must see in your answer book, it must be the trial balance on 30 September. So that is how you need to sort your work. Okay, so that's it concerning the instructions. So now let's go to the beginning of your paper. So that's where your question paper will start on page 5. And then there's a scenario there that I said you must read. It says KINKY Style is a business selling hair extension. So we are selling hair extension to individual. That is the product. That is the product that we are selling. As I've said, it's important to understand what is a product that the business is selling. KINKY Style knows what customers want, and their salesperson have special skills. They also know their competition. KINKY Style also deliver each customer's orders to their door. Likhona Ngaziwa is the owner. So this is what we are also looking for. We want to know who is the owner of the business. So it's Likhona Ngaziwa. and is up to date with the trends in the beauty and hair industry. She appointed a bookkeeper to computerize the accounting system of the business. So that is the scenario. What we understood is the product that they are selling, and also we know now who is the owner of the business. We said those two are very important. Then their financial year period runs from March 2023 to 2024. This is important as well to know in which accounting period you are reporting in. And then they said the business registers for VAT purposes and make 2 monthly payments to the South African Revenue Services on invoice basis. All right, that is fine. Then they say you are requested to complete the setup of the parameters as shown under additional setup parameters. Therefore, process the rest of the transaction for September 23. So that is why I said once you read this is NB. You must stop. You must stop and go to where they are telling you about it, where we'll find additional parameter setup. Then we start processing, or we start completing the setup that were not done. So this will be found in page 8. So let's just go there. In page 8, that is where, this is the page I'm talking about, is page 8. And then they say additional parameter setup. I said here, do this before starting with the question paper. So they say the details of the setup and customer document screen and the supplier document screen are incomplete. These details must be completed using the information below. So they will tell you exactly what you need to do. All these bullets, they tell you what you need to do. You need to rename, you need to link, you need to input, you need to change the message, and you need to create the following service item. So this is what you will need to do before you start answering the question paper. So we are going to come back to this when we start answering the question paper using Pastel Partner. So I'm going to go back to the question paper, to the scenario, or that is page 5, just to continue. So you'll do that additional parameter setup, and then once you are done, you must come back to this page 5, so that you can continue reading through your question paper. So now we are reading through the question paper. Let's read through the question paper. We are told that these are parameter setup, and then the entry type, this is your journal already set up, so we are happy with that. We scroll, they say general ledger account is on 31st August 23. They are already created, but there's a problem. Balances not yet entered. These are take on balances. These are take on balances, meaning are the balances of the past which must be incorporated into the system. So if they say balances not yet entered, you must now expect that they will require you to put these balances, or they will give you the instruction to put these balances in the relevant journal. In this case, it will be a GJ. Okay, so these are the balances. Then when you scroll further, it says supplier schedule already set up. We are happy with this. And then customer schedule is on 3 August is set up, but balance is not yet entered. So again, these are other take on balances. These are the balances of the past that must be incorporated in the system. So we will do that when we are giving the instruction. On 30 August again, that is a stock. They say already set up. We are happy with that. But the most important part is this statement here. It says stock item already been set up. The business add a 25% markup on the cost price. So this is the markup that I was talking about. I said to you, you must know the formula of calculating the selling price. So if we were to continue with this 25%, we are going to say selling price is equals to cost price multiplied by 100 plus 25, because this x is now given over 100. Then it means your formula that you are going to be using for this question paper to calculate the selling price is going to be cost price multiplied by 125 over 100. That is the formula that you are going to use to calculate the selling price. So that's why it's important that you read the question paper. Each and every question is got this section, so you must know what to do when you read it. So let's continue. So this is your stock already set up, and then we have early terms, early payment terms also already set up, and then we already spoken about the additional parameter setup, which I said we will do when we now on pastel. Okay, so let's continue to read. Then when you arrive here, we have transaction for September 2023, which is period 7. You must know the period that you are processing on. So you are in period 7, which is September. So every time you open maybe the tax invoice, make sure that is in period 7. If you are opening the journals, if you are processing for the current month, make sure that you are processing in period 7. Another point that we normally forget is this one, where they said once you have completed whatever your computerized source document or your journal pages, you must print and update. The part that you always forget is to update. You must update whatever you have done, so that it changes the balances that are on the system, so that when you are required to print maybe the balance sheet or the trial balance at the end of the period, it will have information. But if you have done all your source document or your journals but you did not update, it means when you print that trial balance or the balance sheet, it will not have the amount in it. So make sure that you print and update. Okay, you must also read this one, very important. Refer to the attached addendum. What is the addendum? Is that last page on your question paper that has the admissible deductions with regard to input tax. You must use this page. Sometimes you might be confused whether the item is charged VAT or not. Then this addendum might answer such questions when we are not sure. So use that last page. This is the page that I'm talking about. Is the addendum. A is got the admissible deductions on input tax. So it will tell you it's got a lot of accounts there. It tells you whether they are charged VAT or not charged VAT. So if you are not sure whether something is charged VAT, better start by checking whether that item is available here before you can make a final decision. The other item that is important is 1.3.5. They say if there are no early terms for an invoice, create or add a specific term. Although they've created some for you, sometimes in the invoice you'll get a new term. So it means you have to create that term. The terms that we have at the moment are this one. We have 2.5 for in 30 days from last day of the, they are already created on the system. So when you open, you'll find that these terms are already there. But if you come across a new term, then it means you'll have to create that term. And on pastel, you'll know how to do that. Then 1.3.6, if there is no ledger account to a specific transaction, such an account must be created. Apply the account structure. So you might find that there's a new transaction that the business has never had before, so that account is not there on the system. Then you'll have to create it, but you must apply the account structure as set out. So it means you'll be using this trial balance, this set of account that you are given here. Let's say you want to create another expense. The last expense there is account 4,600. So let's say you come across a new transaction and the account that is affected is an expense that is not here. So you need to create a new code. So you might, to follow the account structure, you might try maybe account 4,700. So that will be your new account that you are going to create. And when you are creating it, you are following this account structure that is set out here. Okay, so that's it with the instructions that you must read and understand. And then also going through the question paper, we've been doing that. So here in page 10, that is where your question paper will start. 1.4 says opening balances. Use, remember the opening balances are the take-on balances, which are the balances of the past that must be incorporated in the system. So use the information at point 1.12 and 1.14 above to process the opening balances. In the opening balances, in the general ledger accounts, which this will be done in the GJ, so you'll activate a GJ, and the customer account on 31st of August 2023, that will be done in the customer journal. They say process the customer account according to the age analysis. So those are the things that you need to know how to do. So you must know how long the customer have been owing the business. Some, it can be the age analysis can be 30 days, it can be 60 days, it can be 90 days. So you must know how to reverse your system to indicate that this amount were owed during this period. Then once you have done that, it means you will have process your customer account according to the age analysis. Then they say use OP BAL 28 as a reference. Then that is important, there's a mark there. And then process the opening balance and do not increment. So you must make sure that you do not increment the reference. Use the balance as a description. That's another mark there, balance as a description. And then you must do what? You must print and update the batches. So in this video, I will be focusing only on the take-on balances. So let's go to the pastel program now. Make sure that you've got this question paper so that as I'm doing this on pastel, you are able to follow what I'll be doing, because when I'm on pastel, I won't be able to show you the whole question paper as I'm showing you now. So let's go back, let's go to the pastel. Now I'm in pastel. We are going to see how we are going to start this question paper. We said the first thing, you must make sure that you are in the correct company, which is KINKY. And then the first part is to put your ID number. So I'm going to go to setup, company parameters, and then I'm going to put the password of my organization. And then inside the company name, I'm going to click there and then press Ctrl T on the keyboard. And then they said I must put this information as follows: workstation number, I will be sitting maybe in PC 10. Then they say I must put a comma, then I put KINKY, I put another comma, and then I put my examination number. So this is how I'm going to do it. Then I click on OK. But before then, you will see that at the moment, if you look there, my name is not yet appearing until I press OK, and then I click on OK again. Then my name or my ID number will be appearing, meaning everything that I'll be printing on the system now, it will be having the ID number on it. So with this one, before we start the exam, we must set it. Then we go to the scenario. We have seen the product, the product that the business is selling is hair extension. The owner is the corner. And then we on page 5, that's where I am. You are required to do the additional parameter setup. So I'm going to go there to additional parameter setup, which is page 8. And then I'm going to read through what is it that we need to do. They say additional parameter setup. The details of the setup customer or document screen and the supplier document screen are incomplete. These details must be completed using the information below. So the first point there that we must sort is say rename the debit note document to rename the return debit note document to debit note. So you know that a debit note is associated with the supplier. So we are going to go to setup, suppliers, document. And then when we arrive here, what is it that we need to change is the return or debit. And we must change the name. It must not say return and debit, but it must just say debit debit note. It must say debit note. Okay. Okay, the first point is done. When you move to the second point, it says link the debit note with the correct entry type, meaning the entry type, it has not yet been linked to the journal. So if it's not yet linked to the journal, you won't be able to process the debit note. It must be linked to a journal. So which journal are we going to link it with? It's going to be a supplier allowances. So point number 2 is done. The input of the debit note must start with DEB 001. So that is the next number they are talking about. This one must be changed. It must start with DEB 001. And another part that you must check in material that you are given is that the invoice line doesn't say GL code, but it says item code. You must just double check that. Sometimes when we are creating this key in material, some of the things we miss them. So the debit notes is the next number, debit 001 is the next number, and the invoice line must say item code. Then we'll be able to process this debit note. So it seems I'm done with the debit note. I'm now moving to the point number 4. It says change the message of the customer invoice to the following messages, or to the following message: visit our website, blah blah blah. So I'm gonna go to setup, customer, document, and when I arrive there, I must go to the invoice. I must change this message. It must say visit our website. Visit our website for all. Sometimes when you try to continue to type, the sentence is not gonna fit. It means you must go to the next line. Visit for all our products. You can see I cannot type products. It means I must go to the next line. All our products and for orders. Okay, so that's where I'm going to change it. So that's how it's gonna look like, and then I'm going to click on OK, because there was nothing said about the credit note. So I'm gonna say OK, and then I'm going to continue reading. They say create the following inventory item code. So I'm giving a new inventory item code to create. Where do I go? Edit inventory item file. I'm giving the code. Then you can see that for now it is filled. I must click on add. All right, and then the code is HLDL, and then the description is handling fee. Then they say it doesn't have, I must not link it to a category, although I have the categories there, but they don't want me to link it to any. And then I must change the inventory group to services. Then I must change discount to none, which is very important there. And then I must also change the unit. The units I'm dealing with is 1/4 per hour. It's a quarter of an hour. Okay, and then what else? It must show quantity. And I must untick sales commission. And then you will see it's a service item. It doesn't have the cost price, so it's only have the selling price, which I'm going to put under prices. And how much is the selling price? It's going to be 25 exclusive amount. So that is where I'm going to put it. So once you have done this, you are going to save. All right, and then I've done additional parameter setup in page 8 and 9. Then I need to go back to page. Okay, I must continue in page 10. Or before I can continue, I must go back to page 5 to continue reading. That's how we do it. Then once you are done with additional parameter setup in page 8 and 9, Then go back to page 5 to continue reading. As you can see, it says entry type already set up. A general ledger account, balances not entered. I've already said something's gonna happen there with your take-on balances. Schedule of the suppliers already set up. Customers, but balances not yet entered. Stock set up, and then they gave you the markup of 25%, and then there are early terms as well, and then we've already done the additional parameter setup, and then we've gone through page 9, those important things, the addendum and the early payment terms, as well as the new account codes. Then we are going to start our question on page 10, where it says use the following information or points 1.1.2 and 1.14 above to process the opening balances of the general ledger and the customer journal. So we are going to start with the 1.1.2, which is your GJ. So let's go there. 1.1.2. Where are we going to do this take-on balances? We are going to say process journals, general journal, and the first thing that you must do before you can continue, you must go to your settings. In your settings, you do not put anything under contra, and then is this year's transaction because period 6 is this year, and you repeat description, and then you do not increment, but you must untick text processing because you want to see debit and credit. Okay, so once you are done with your setting, you close, and then you make sure that you are processing in the correct period. The period in the question paper, they said it must be 31st August, as you can see here. So it's period 6 is correct. So let's start working. So you're going to tap, open the accounts. It will depend how you want to search them. You can search them using the account, or you can search them using the description. So I always prefer to use a description. I'm going to tick description. Then I'm going to type the first letters of the account. For example, bad, meaning bad. I'm looking for an account that starts with bad, and it gives me a bad debt and as well as the bad debt recovered. But I'm looking for bad debt recovered. So I'm going to double click. You saw that when you search using description, it will populate those account data starting with the letters that you have inserted to search with. So I always prefer to use a description to search. So it's bad debt. What is the reference that they said we must use? They say it's gonna be OP BAL 8. So that is the reference that you must use. And what's the description? They say it is going to be balance. All right. Then you must check on what side does the bad debt recovered, what type of account is bad debt recovered, is an income, and on what side does it increase? It increase on the credit side. So we are going to put the balance on the credit side. 1269.68. So you tap to the next line. You don't put anything under contra. Okay, and then the next account is electricity and water. I'm gonna tap and activate electricity. I start by zooming with the name, then electricity and water. I keep this must continue to happen, the reference as well as the description. And then what type of account is electricity and water? Is the expense, so it's increased on the debit side. So I'm going to put it on the debit side there. Going to the next line, I have the rent paid, R. Then I've got the rent paid there. Then is an expense again. It goes to the debit side. Okay. In the next line, I've got salaries and wages. Tap. Salaries and wages. Then is an expense. I put it on the debit side. Tap to the next line. And then I've got capital. Capital is the owner's equity, increasing on the credit side. 733,889,91. Tap to the next line. Then I have drawings, which affects the equity negatively, meaning it's going to come on the debit side, 128,000. Then I have computer equipment, which is an asset in the business, that will go on the debit side. Computer equipment at cost is an asset going on the debit side, so it's 32,780,55. Then I have computer equipment accumulated depreciation. Okay, I must activate that account. Then it will go on the credit side with 15678,45. Okay, then I have office equipment, which must go on the debit side because it's an asset, 35,890,23. And then I've got office equipment accumulated depreciation going on a credit side, which is 14,789,34. Then I have fixed deposits. For Bank for All is an asset, it will go on the debit side, 25,000. Then I have trading stock, which is an asset again, to go on the debit side, which is 30,973,40. And then you see that they also included bank, but they put on the question mark. You can skip that because it means you must calculate. And then the last account is petty cash. Petty cash is an asset. There's this thing that says if you post a bank account from the journal entry type, the entry will not appear. Don't worry, just click on OK. And then how much are we talking about? We're talking about 1,500. Sorry, 1,500. And then you will see that at the bottom it will tell you how much we are short with, but we need to check whether all our amounts are correct. Okay, I'm checking 1269,68, 6,400, 92,128, 733,889,91. I think I've missed is the okay, the drawings. It was supposed to be 180,000. I put in the wrong amount there. It's supposed to be 180,000. So then it will be correct. What we are short with is 233,0,83. So that is the bank amount that they were talking about. So you can see that it means if it says 233,083,20 credit side, it means this side is bigger than like with this amount. So it means you must put it on the debit side. So I'm gonna activate the bank, and then it's gonna give me the same instruction. I'll just say okay, and then this amount that is appearing here is the one that I'm going to put on the debit side so that my journal will balance 083,20. You'll see it will say in balance. So once we have done this, we are done with this activity or with this instruction that you must do the take on balances for the GJ. What do? You must print your GJ. Print with contrast. So I'm going to print with contrast, and then I'm printing on PDF, and then I'm going to call it GJ top. GJ tone, then for me to remember what I've saved here. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK. All right, now I'm going to check for for this journal, so that I see how it looks like. This is how it's gonna look like. And how are they going to mark this in the final exam? They are going to mark that you have entered this in the GJ. They are going to mark that you adhere to this instruction of putting your description as a balance. And also this one here, there will be a mark. And then for each and every amount that you put on the correct side, they are going to give you a half a mark there. So the total for this question paper, for this printout, was 9 marks. So that is how we are going to get your mark. And also the correct period there will be a mark as well. So make sure that you follow the instruction in order for you to score all these marks. So this is where I'm going to end for now. This will be video number 1. So I will also do video number 2 just to continue with the question paper, so that you are ready and prepared for your final examination. So you must check me in the next video. If you like this video, please like it. If you have any questions, please type your questions. I will be ready to answer those questions for you. Thank you very much. Bye.